How about you, James? How do you look at customer lifetime value and how do you estimate it based on the data points?
Yeah, so it's interesting because we've really taken a digitally native and now fully digital from our digitally native launch to being fully digital still now. And so we get some really interesting insights. And I think the beauty of Shopify is there is some good visibility towards some of these metrics. And lifetime value has been a really interesting one for Bissy because what we've seen are the super fans have a really interesting buying cycle. Typically, the people who are the most valuable customers for us will order 4 to 5 10 packs of our product at a time, totaling
Wow.
anywhere from 130-ish to $200 for each order they put in. But
Wow.
those come almost like clockwork every month and a half. So we've been, now that we're kind of catching on to these trends, we've been really leaning into that and offering, as Molly was mentioning, some really great like VIP discount codes. If you don't have too many of them, we've got a manageable number, so we're
Mm.
able to actually reach out and interact with each of them and thank them and just kind of build further that trust that they have in the product, and that affinity they have for the brand. So um, our lifetime value of a customer is, I think, skewed more probably than most brands. And
Mhm.
so I'd be interested though to understand, because we're a year and a half into selling, and so I'd be actually interested
Mm.
go deep into understanding what types of metrics, in addition to like some of the Shopify metrics that they have available on the dashboard, we should be looking at. Because I'd love to get educated further in this specific
Yeah.
operational KPI.
Yes. So this is one piece of information that I would like to share with Molly, James, and Robert. Uh, we as a technology company have kind of deep dived into the consumer behavior to understand the different types of behavior. So the behavior can be a browsing behavior, their purchase behavior, their cart abandonment behavior. And within these behavior, we also are able to analyze the recency behavior, like how recently someone has been to your store, what did they browse, what is the monetary value of the browse content, or what is the interval between their two consecutive purchases, or what is the latency between their two consecutive purchases. So these are we are looking at data and every consumer. So we are not just looking at a segment, but we are looking at an individual customer level. And the consumer behavior is extremely dynamic. So we know that when a customer is making a transition from one segment to other, what messaging to go out to him. And on that basis, we can then come up with the estimation of the lifetime value for a particular segment. So you exactly know that, okay, I need to spend my marketing dollar on this segment, which is kind of not engaging with me. Whereas the segment which is already working for me, I need to take a very different approach so that these best customer become my ambassadors and they drive additional traffic and additional consumers to my business. So that those are some of the key areas that we focus our attention to, and we have been doing all of this analysis on a huge data set where we have seen consumers like with doing $100 million, or let's say customers with products of 50,000, and or for example those who are doing business of around 100,000 to $1 million monthly. So we have seen that scale, and it would be kind of very interesting to see how we can apply that to a food and beverage brand, just like James that you are running. So we can touch on that aspect.